Marc, what are some common mistakes you see as people are considering buying an FMIS as a consultant, and as you've been in the industry, challenges that they've come across?
The first one is low bid. Yeah,
just picking the lowest price.
Yeah, you can't just pick the lowest price, right? You need in the long run, you're going to spend more money if it doesn't have the functionality.
So does that mean they should pick the highest price?
Not necessarily, right? It should really be about fit for what your business model is, and does the system have the functionality, that you need to accomplish your goals and to be able to track the KPIs and so forth and so on that you're working for, right? So I think that's key. And I think another big mistake is kind of skipping on training, right? So certainly there's a convergence amongst the major players out there in the FMIS, meaning there's some level of overlap in that functionality. So what are the differentiators there, right? What are the things that maybe one does better than the other? Obviously we have the things that we think, but really focused on, how does training play into that picture in that purchase, right? Is it a one-time thing and then after that you're on your own? Or does that organization have ongoing training, like we do? So that as your techs, inevitably you're going to change techs, you're going to change people. How do folks keep up? I can't tell you how many times as a consultant we've come across an organization, my FMIS stinks, right? And I will tell you, even when working with competitor systems, right, it's often not their fault, right? But the issue is that no one's been trained in 13 years since they acquired this system, right, in the first place, right? So a system that embeds in their plan with you some sort of upkeep in training and making sure you're also getting all the new information on the new features, I think is really, really key, for all of that. I think another mistake is people, let's be honest, they avoid change, right? People don't like change. So a lot of times the system gets chosen because it's the system I have today, and I want to avoid that pain of that changeover. Certainly I wouldn't recommend to anyone that they change systems every 6 months, right? But if that's really what's stopping you from pulling the trigger when it's clear that this other system is a better fit for you for some of the reasons I just said, then again, in the long run, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, right? Because you can't do the things that you need or ought to be doing, to succeed as a fleet.
I think one of the big mistakes people make too is considering the support, how much support they get after the fact, how good is the support when you get it, when you call in, do you get your questions answered? Or are you constantly having to chase down people and escalate issues? And then the last thing I always look at too is who's at the company.
Yeah.
What are the minds that are, working at that company? What are they thinking about? Are there experts at the company, or is this some startup that got some Silicon Valley funding?
Right.
That they don't really understand the space and they're not solving the actual problems. They're just there to make a buck.
That's such a great point. And I don't mean to knock anyone, but are we dealing with engineers who are trying to learn fleet? Or are we dealing with fleet folks who are informing the engineers exactly what this thing should look like? And to your point, is there someone there I can call that can help me solve the problem? Software is a tool, right? The drill doesn't build the house, right? The construction crew and the construction workers build a house. They use the drill to make that building a lot more efficient and a lot better done. And if they have the right tool for the right job, it's going to help significantly, right? So the question is, are the people in that organization there that are going to help you solve your problems for the purpose that you have the software for, right? It's bigger, as you pointed out all the time when we talk about things like intentional culture. It has to be bigger than the software, right? It's about the organization. That's a great point. I couldn't agree with you more.
I often like to think when it comes to RTA that the greatest minds in the fleet industry work here at this company, and they're helping steer and guide the development of the application so that our customers can achieve the outcomes they desire every time.
Amen.